educated, and empowered. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you are tuning in. Hold on one quick second. I'm going to do that again. Hold on. All right, so let's try that again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award winning author, filmmaker, and empowerment specialist, Tennille M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you all to another episode of Aspects of Authorpreneurship. This is the show that helps you with everything being an author and an entrepreneur, whether it be writing, publishing, marketing, or networking, and all things in between. So we can also discuss branding and all types of stuff. So that's this show. Y'all, I'm trying to get situated, as you can probably see. Hey, Mama Joyce, thanks for joining me. Hey, to those of you who are coming in on Wisdom, to Vershana and Valerie, and to everybody else, whether you are watching on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, or even listening from Wisdom, know that I appreciate you for tuning in. Let's go quickly over our rules of protocol. First of all, please say hello so that way I know that you are watching and I can speak back. Number two, like and share the video. Like and share the video. Those of you on Wisdom, you're not able to like and share, I don't think. But everybody, if you like what I'm saying, you can feel free to send hearts my way, claps my way, stars my way, depending on what platform you are watching from. Go ahead and do what you can do to send encouragement my way. So on Facebook, I want to say you can send some stars and hearts. On Wisdom, you can send some claps. On YouTube, I think is the what is it? The chats, the I forgot what it's called, but whatever it is, super chats. I think that's what it's called. Go ahead and send it my way if you like what it is that I'm saying. If what I'm saying is helping you, then make sure you do that. And then the number three rule is to tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. So, who would benefit from today's broadcast? People who have problems with publishing. So, if you are a writer or an aspiring author, if you are looking to start your own publishing company, anybody like that are the people that you would tag here. And so I want to go over the top three. And again, it don't have to be your top three. The way that I compile this top three is just by, okay, understand that I am an author and have been one for over a decade. This year makes 10 years that I have been a publisher. So this is kind of what I do. So just based upon my experience, this isn't, you go Google this and find this list. This is my own personal list that I have compiled. So please make sure that you ask any questions while I am on the podcast, because as I always tell y'all, while I'm live, you guys can, come to the microphone if you're on Wisdom, or you can comment if you're on the visual platforms. And whatever questions you have, I will answer them as though we are on a one-on-one consultation, obviously in a shortened form, but I will still answer that question fully. Why do I do that? Because I appreciate and respect the fact that you are choosing to spend your time here with me. And so this topic is actually brought to you courtesy of Joyce A. Graham. This is a question I asked. This question, I threw it out the last minute on Facebook. And that's another benefit of following me on social media platforms, specifically with Facebook. A lot of times I will just throw out random questions. And if you happen to comment on the post that I make, then your answer may ultimately be what I choose to use for subject matter for that day. So, excuse me, I posed a question on Facebook. I like Joyce's answer, and so I am using her answer to shape the topic for today. So let's get into it, shall we? So we are talking about the top 3 publishing problems. Now, this is under the understanding that this is for people who choose to self-publish. So I'm not talking about the problems that you may have if you are a traditional author, the problems that you have with your publisher. That's not what this is. This is whether you are actually choosing to do it yourself or you are paying someone to do it. Okay. So, under those 2 circumstances, are you considered a self publisher? And so, that is what this content or subject matter is, or that is who this subject matter is toward. Okay. So, understanding again, in order to be considered a self-published author, that means that either you published it yourself, you did the work yourself, or you paid someone to do it for you. So under that premise, here's one of the top problems that people have when it comes to publishing is the pricing, right? So if I choose to pay someone to publish for me, then I may have an issue with the pricing, meaning the budget that I have. And so, how do we overcome the budgeting issues? First of all, I will say this. Well, how do we overcome the pricing issues? Because your budget is your budget, right? But how do we overcome the pricing issues? Number one, what do I always tell you guys? Do your research, right? Do your research. So, what you don't do is, okay, let's say that your budget is $1,000, but who it is you want to work with charge $2,500. What we don't do is get mad because the person who charges $2,500 won't bring their price down to what your budget can afford. Now, can you shoot your shot and see if you can work out some type of amazing deal where the person will cut off their price $1,500 just so they can work with you? Hey, I'm not, shoot your shot, shoot your best shot. Maybe you have some outstanding deal and they won't have a problem taking that, because basically if they charge 2,500 and you can only pay 1,000, that means that's a client and a half that they losing to be able to work with you. So again, but again, we don't never know what they might be willing to do. So I'm not telling you don't shoot your shot, but what I am saying is don't get mad and start talking about, oh, they ain't no good and they must be scamming and I can't believe that they charge this amount of money. Don't start bashing people just because you can't afford to work with them. Okay. So let's start there. So when we talk about when I'm talking about a problem with publishing, I want to talk about both sides of the coin. Okay. So I want to talk about it if you are the author as well as if you are the publisher. So if you are the author looking to work with a publisher, then number one, know what your budget is. So know what type of publishers you can afford and then do your homework accordingly. So I would like to say that there is probably a publisher at most price points. I don't know anybody that's gonna publish you for $100 or $200. I'm just gonna be honest with you. When I first came out 10 years ago, I think I was doing it for maybe $800, and that was 10 years ago. And since then, I have gone up. I think my cheapest publishing package, like, so I do it 2 different ways now. Because I don't. So yes, APS, I have my own publishing, imprint, and APS publishing. Okay, and I have had APS publishing since 2014. So that's why I say October of it might be August. I think it's August of this year makes 10 years with APS publishing. But here's the point. I don't really promote my publishing company because I'm not really heavily recruiting for new authors, okay? But there are a lot of publishing companies who are actively, recruiting for authors. There are some publishing companies that, they may not charge you anything, but many of them do. But for me, again, when I first started with APS Publishing, I was charging $800, and that was because I didn't really know anybody, y'all. And let me explain to you, for those of you who are authors, why it is that the cost is so much. First and foremost, you have to understand that you are paying for this person's time. Okay. Hey, Lamont, you are paying for this person's time. So for me, again, I was not at the time, I was not outsourcing help. So when you were working with me, you were working with me. So here it is. I am bringing all that I am as a national and international award winning author. I'm bringing that to the table. So when we're talking, and I'm not just publishing you. So I am, so wait, the $800 mark, I was just publishing you. You got a consultation, and then we went ahead and we would go through your manuscript. And for the most part, even when I wasn't charging for it, I was still including editing in the in the service that I was providing. Why? Because even though, so in the early days of my publishing, I was making editing be an option. And let me tell you, I didn't have to do it long. I think maybe my first 3 clients, I had it as an option, even though 2 of those clients, they took me up in the option. They understood the benefit of the editing, and they understood why they needed the editing. But the first client was just strictly to her budget. Hello, Elder. So the first client was just all about her budget, and that was it. And here was the problem with me. For me as the publisher, here was the problem. Her manuscript was complete with a whole lot of, hold on, let's see, hold on. So the first client I had, her manuscript had so many different um hold on. I do not. Y'all give me one quick second. This is the reason why many times I do not do. Give me one quick second, y'all. I'm trying to figure out what is going on over here on Wisdom. Okay. So the first client I had, her manuscript was filled with errors. And so technically speaking, what is y'all, this is, y'all give me one second. Those of you who are on visual platforms, give me one quick second, because I have no clue why it is. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna end up logging off of Wisdom because I do not understand. Hold on. Okay, so for those of you, if you are able to hear me on Wisdom, I'm actually about to log off of here, and I'll log back on to you guys later. Okay. So I apologize to those of you who are watching on the visual platform. But sometimes that's the problem when you are simulcast, and for whatever reason, that platform is still in its beginning stages. And so because of that, sometimes it will kind of do its own thing. But let's get back focused. Okay. So when I first started, first client I had, her manuscript was filled with errors, and I explained to her the need for editing, which I offered, but I offered at an additional charge. Okay. And so she did not want to pay that charge. And so the fact of the matter, though, was that I had already had a contract with her. And again, first client, I didn't know any better. So I was learning, being baptized by fire. So we had signed a contract, and this was a referral from somebody I had knew. And this is another reason why now I do not do business sight unseen. This was somebody that told me about how wonderful a person she was, and this, that, and the third. And she was a very nice person, very nice person. But again, when you're doing business, being personable should not interfere with business. Okay. So I had told her I got all of the logistics from the person. So I knew how many pages the manuscript was, I knew all of the basics, but I had not seen the manuscript. Okay. And so just sight unseen, which again, I never do that anymore. So don't even ask me if that is not something you do. That was a lesson that I learned, something that I preach against. So you never, ever, 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 ever do business, provide a price. I don't care if you're editing. Hey, Miss Portia, I don't care if you're editing. I don't care if you're publishing. I don't care what you are doing. Never quote a price sight unseen. And so with this particular client, I had quoted the price, and like I say, that was $800, and it was to publish her manuscript. But then by the time I saw it and I saw how many mistakes it was, how much editing was necessary, I explained to her, why it was very necessary that she employ an editor. Like she needed, I was like, even if you don't get the editing services from me, which kind of makes more sense if I'm publishing it, I'm like, you need to get it from somebody. And so she was just adamant about what her budget was, and she wasn't going over her budget. Now, knowing now what I know 10 years later, what I should have done 10 years ago was to say, well, you know what, if you won't do the publishing, then I cannot, if you won't do the editing and I can't publish it for you. That's what I should have said. I was young and inexperienced, didn't know. So what I did was I told her, okay, fine, I'll just go ahead and I'll publish it for you. That now here's the problem. It's my imprint. So what she not gonna do is publish a manuscript full of mistakes just because you didn't pay me to fix it. So what was happening was, like I say, in the early years, I was not charging for editing. I was leaving it up to the author to understand the benefit of the editing, and so that they would then go ahead and just pay for the extra fee. But then, like I say, probably about a year or so in, I learned that many authors did not understand or value a good edited manuscript, and they would just as easily say, "Just never mind, I don't need it." When yes, you do. And even if they didn't need it, as a publisher, it made me look horrible if I would publish somebody's manuscript and I'm seeing, "Hey, Miss Tanya, I'm seeing all of these different mistakes throughout the manuscript." And then once they see it, the first thing people gonna say is, "Who is your publisher?" And not in a good way. And that was not the reputation that I want to have. And so basically I was eating a whole lot of service. I'm editing this stuff like it was paid for when it wasn't paid for. So I'm the one that's getting messed over, right? And so, like I say, about a year or so into my publishing life, that's when I learned to say, you know what, we finna change these prices right now. So now the prices they are going to automatically include publishing. And so then I had to I changed the pricing, but it was still tiered pricing because it was based upon how many pages were in your manuscript. So like if you had under 50 pages, then it was X amount. If it was 51 to 100, then it was X amount. And then if it was 101 to 150, then it was X amount. I did not publish manuscripts that was over 150 pages because, again, these were the days where I did not outsource help. So I was doing all of it. Okay. So that's the first part. As an author, understand that when you are talking about publishing, you want to, number one, get an understanding of what your monies are supposed to cover. Many Thank you so much, Miss. Let me put this on the screen. Portia said that I was good then, just like now. And here's the thing, and this is not being arrogant. I was I just didn't know it. I just lacked the experience so that I was not charging what I was worth. Because again, when you first start out in business, a lot of times I think, regardless of the business, I think that sometimes you give a lot more of yourself because you don't know, and you don't know the value that you bring. I think that that's something that you have to learn, and for it doesn't always take everybody the same amount of time to learn it. But as I began to learn it, and then not just that, but things that I could do to tweak it, then that's kind of what I did. So, like, then I think I just about doubled the pricing. Like, um it was probably like maybe like 1,200 to 2,000, depending on what category it fell in, right? Because again, you're getting the editing and the publishing. So on the author side of things, make sure that when you are looking for a publisher, make sure you understand. Oh, thank you so much, Portia. That means a lot to me. But they make sure that you understand what your budget is and what is going to be included. Okay. So if you say, well, I got $1,000, what's that gonna get me? I don't think that's the best way to approach it, right? Because you don't want a half edited book. And you got a lot of people who ain't gonna be like me. And like when you go to, say you go to like one of these main companies like an author house, right? You go to, I'm trying to think of Ex Libris or some of these other companies I don't even really know about. When I came out 10 years ago, you had like Dorrance Publishing, Author House, Ex Libris. These were companies that you paid to publish for you, right? And the issue is that a lot of these companies, because it's like they're just mass producing, so they don't care what it looks like. They have no skin in the game as far as having a bad reputation, because their whole thing is, hey, we get authors upon authors, so they don't really care if they get one or two bad books out there, right? But if you're dealing with a small publisher, then it does matter, because having a bad book, if they only publish 3 to 4 a year, or three, under 10 a year, then it will have an effect on whether it makes or breaks them and their reputation. Okay. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. And so the point is, you want to ask what is included in the publishing package, because many publishers do not include editing in their costs, because editing is a whole job. I know authors, like, this is no exaggeration, my right hand to God. I know authors that have spent thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars in the editing phase, not publishing, in the editing phase, thousands of dollars, right? So understand that editing in and of itself is a very expensive process. So, and that is totally separate than what it means to actually publish the book. So you guys have to know, as again, as an author, thank you so much for tuning in over there on Instagram. But as an author, you have to know, what does the, or you need to ask, what does this include? So if I pay you X amount of dollars, do not assume that it includes anything. I have had authors that came to me on the rebound because they said, well, I paid this publishing company, but then I had to pay for my own ISBN. And I said, baby, something was wrong, because what makes the publishing company is them owning their own ISBN, because the ISBN, International Standard Book Number, that's the barcode that you all will see on the back of books, right? So whoever owns the ISBN is the person who owns the book, aka the publisher. And so if you are paying for your own ISBN, then that means that book is yours. But because you didn't realize that, then, so in other words, no problem. This is what I'm here to do. I try to teach everybody, but everybody who will listen. But here's the thing. So if you are unaware of what makes a book a book. So the International Standard Book Number, the ISBN, that's what it is that shows you all the information. That shows you who it is that published the book. So if ever you have somebody, you done paid them some money to put your book together, and then they say, well, you have to buy the ISBN as well. Okay, ma'am and sir, at that point, that's when you let them know that your name should then go down as publisher. So at this point, you're just outsourcing them to actually format the book for you, put it together, and even potentially upload it. But your name should be listed as the publisher if you are the person that's going to Bowker.com to purchase that ISBN. And again, I said it time and time and time again, Bowker.com has a monopoly on ISBNs. What does that mean? That means if any person or entity tries to sell you an ISBN that is not Bowker.com, BOWKER.com, it is not a legit ISBN. Okay. So make sure that you are not subletting ISBN. I've heard that. I'm trying to think of different things I've heard. And matter of fact, that'll probably go into the second part about the scamming part. So let me just finish out the budgeting part because I'm going past my time. So number one publishing problem is budgeting. How do we solve it? As an author, what you want to do is know what you want to, number one, have done your research. Do your research so that you can know what the range is. What does things cost to publish? Many publishing companies, including APS Publishing, they will have tiers. So they'll have, okay, for this amount, this is what you get. For this amount, this is what you get. So do not just think, oh, I got $1,000, so that should be enough to get a book published. That's ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I simply mean it in the actual definition term of that shows that you lack knowledge of what it is that you're doing, right? And I tell y'all all the time, you want to equip yourself with the knowledge, because half of the way that you get scammed is when people who are in the industry know that you have no clue about what you're doing. Because now you make, for, as they say, easy pickings, right? Now, again, somebody like me that actually works with integrity, I'm not going to take advantage of you. I have gotten burned enough to know that all money ain't good money. I done had clients that was paying $4,000 and $5,000 that I turned away because I could tell from the first consultation, oh, no, you ain't finna get me, because this is going to be way more trouble than it's worth. Hello, little muffin. This is going to be way more trouble than it's worth. So no, that's a turn away. And so also understand that just because you sit down and you meet with somebody, I don't care. Hey, Randy, I don't care if the person you meet with is an editor, if it's a publisher. Just because you have a meeting with somebody, that does not mean that you are obligated to do business with them. So you need to know that, like, as an author, don't be so excited about the process and the fact that the process is moving forward that you just end up getting into a bad deal, because that's what happens many times. You are uneducated about the process. You have no idea what questions you should be asking publishers. And so because you got somebody to say yes, and heaven forbid you done had 5 no's before you got that yes, then you gonna automatically think because this is a yes, that means that it's right. No, it's a yes. That don't necessarily mean that it's right for you. It's just they just didn't say no. So is this publisher reputable? Has this publisher done good business with other people? And understand that when we say good business, it's not always just about what the finished product looks like, but what is that experience, that interim experience going to be? Is this somebody that's easy to talk to? Is this somebody that you can get a hold of? Is this somebody that's going to be able to add value? So in other words, like when I did my first book, I've told you guys this story before. When I did my first book, I wasn't a publisher when I first came out. So when I did my first book, I paid Author House to do my first book. And they did. I ain't get nothing. Nobody told me nothing. They asked me all these questions that the only way that I could answer them is if I knew what, like they asked me, well, what is your preferred trim size? I didn't even know what trim size meant. So I don't know. I'm like, well, what's my options? And so they started giving me all these different options, and I was just like any mini money molded and pick that. So that's how it came out, right? And so this is why I'm telling y'all about the importance of educating yourself, because your girl didn't. That's how come I was all types of messed up that first time around. But I learned, right? And so for me, so much of my experience have come by trial and error, being baptized by fire. And this is why I try to tell y'all before you go do it, do your research first. Make sure that you ain't just picking people just because they cheap. Because sometimes you get what you pay for. Like, make sure that you know questions to ask. If you need your book in a certain time, are they going to be able to turn it around? But that's a whole nother, I need to do a whole nother live on that, right? Just telling y'all things that you should ask a publisher. This is supposed to be publishing problems. Publishing problems. So first publishing problem, and y'all tell me if y'all need me to go more into the thing on budget. So as an author, make sure that you have done your research so you actually know how much publishing costs if that's the vein that you choose to go down. Make sure that you have done your proper research on the different companies. See if you can find reviews or other people who've done business with them, so that way you can kind of get a better experience before you go in. And again, if you choose to work with somebody that is over your budget, then if you want to take your shot and ask them, would they be willing to do it for you? Okay, but don't get mad and start trying to talk them up all over social media because they was not willing to lower their price just to work with you. The price is the price. And also understand, you can go to one publisher that's saying that it's going to be $1,200 to work with me, and a whole nother publisher, same project, that'll say, okay, it costs $4,000 to work with me. Their price is the price. When you're dealing in businesses like this, price is subjective. Just like when you call a plumber, both of them coming to unstop your tub or unstop your toilet. One person might charge you $100 an hour. One person might charge you $25 an hour. If they both unstop the tub, then the price is the price, right? But then there's sometimes where when you paid that person $25 and they came over there, you understood why it's $25 because the tub still ain't working and all this type of stuff. You see what I'm trying to say? So you got to make sure. Mama Joy said, I am so glad I consulted with you first. You are reputable, fair, and honest. Thank you so much, Mama. I try to be. I try to be. And the other thing is, so like now when you try to work with me, is not $800, and it depends. So like now the way that I have my company set up is actually two different sides. Like it's one, if you just want a quick turnaround, because I do not promote quick turnarounds for independent authors. I don't promote it at all, especially if this is your first book. If you don't know nothing what you're doing, like you're just excited about getting the book in your hand, that does not make it be the best decision to pay somebody X amount of dollars and then 30 days later you got the book in your hand. Because if you haven't done any promotion, if you haven't laid any of the foundation, then 30 days later you just got the book in your hand and you ain't ready, no more ready than you was before. So I don't promote it. However, if that's something that you want to do, I'm going to tell you, you probably shouldn't do it. But if you want to do it, then I have a team that I outsource with to make sure that you can get that turnaround in those 30, 60, or 90 days. But then if there's somebody else who actually wants to have the time to work one-on-one with me and go through the steps of what it takes, that's a whole different thing. So like I don't necessarily charge you per se to publish your book, but it is necessary that you purchase a marketing package, right? Because we ain't just producing a book just for the sake of producing it. Like I gotta see that you are actually excited and you're just as into getting the word out about your book as it is with me. Like I've had clients that, they just pay to publish their book, and once the book is published, they never come back to buy any additional books. So what does that mean? That means that they not out there promoting the book. Because if it came with X amount of copies for free, which my packages do, so if you got 20 books for free a year ago and you ain't never had to buy no more books since then, what's going on. And so I now am a lot more selective in the clients that I choose to work with. I want to work with people who actually are trying to build brands. I want to work with people who actually are trying to push the book and push their message. So I work with you hands on, and that's the reason why it's more expensive, because of what all you're getting in the actual pub. Is not publishing. The publishing of it will be free, but in terms of the marketing, we're working together for the year, and we are creating your business blueprints. We're figuring out how to get you on social media, how to build your brand. We're doing all of that together. And so that's what trial and error has taught me as the publisher. So for my publishers, make sure that the same way I'm telling the authors to make sure that y'all ain't just looking for the cheapest publisher. For the publisher, don't be so thirsty to just get any client just because somebody's willing to pay you $800 or $1,000. Like, what value are they going to bring to you beyond that? Now, if all you're caring about is being like how Author House or something is, like you just care about pushing them out, so you don't care whether or not it's a quality book, you don't care about what type of author it is to that you're adding to your brand. If that don't matter to you, then okay, do what you do. But if you're trying to build a brand, if you want to be able to have authors that continue to do business and they're going to continue to get money for you, then I would say that you want to be selective as well as to who you choose, and not just who's willing to pay for you. So I'm gonna end up just probably doing the top two, y'all, because I didn't know we already 35 minutes. Jesus. All right. And then if anybody else has questions, whether you are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter watching this, feel free to put your questions in the comment section. I'm just going to go over this last one because technically that should have just been the end of the show, but I want to at least get to the getting scammed. I touched on it and I'm going to finish on it, and then that'll just be it. So I'm just doing the top two. Again, are there scammers? Yes. Are there people in the publishing world that will scam you? Absolutely. There are people in every industry that will scam you. So, how do you avoid being scammed? What I've been saying this entire broadcast long is educate yourself, do your own research, so that like if somebody tells you, that they're going to charge you $300 to publish your book, and then when you ask what's included, if they say that you gotta, you're paying for your own ISBN, and you got to get somebody to, format it, and you got to get somebody to do this, like, know what is included in the publishing process, like know what the steps to publishing are, so that way you can figure out it, because maybe they're charging $300 because maybe y'all best friends, or maybe they just got started and so that's what they want to do. Maybe your manuscript is 20 pages, 25 pages. So they're like, hey, this is a quick, and this 25 pages for a children's book. So like maybe for them, this is nothing. But I'm telling you, you are not going to find somebody, not a publisher, that's going to publish. So when they are in the business of publishing, because of everything that goes with it, how time consuming it is, especially if editing is included, the formatting, if they are outsourcing, so that means they got to pay somebody else in order to help. You ain't finding a publishing package, probably I would say the cheapest, and I don't have the actual numbers, like up to date numbers, but the last that I checked, I think the cheapest I saw was maybe $800, $1,000, and that's to pay somebody to do it. And that's not all the bells and whistles. That's just a bare minimum basic package. Okay. So but yes, you can get scammed, and the way that you get scammed is because you have no idea what you're talking about. The way that you get scammed is because you are not having the right conversations. Because let me tell you what most authors consider being scammed to be. Well, because I gave them the money back in January and I needed it by February 3rd, and here this is April, and I still haven't heard from them. First question that I ask, and some of these are are actual conversations that I've had people. Um, so first question I asked, because this was a real conversation that happened. So first question I asked when they coming to me talking about the person, and I'm gonna say person, not entity, that the person was scamming them. I said, well, when does your contract say that you were supposed to get your project? What was the turnaround date listed on your contract? Yeah. You know, the thing that you sign when you give somebody your money that outlines what the job is that they're performing for you. Oh, I didn't have a contract. So so how um so how is this you don't got a contract? So well, because we talked on the phone, and then I just sent them my manuscript. I emailed them my manuscript, and then I was Cash App out then. I don't know. It might have been Cash App or Zelle. Anyway, it was electronic. They electronically sent the money, electronically sent the email them the manuscript, and that was it. I said, well, when was the last time that you talked to them? I think I tried to call sometime in March, but they didn't answer the phone. So let me get this straight. You talked to a person one time in January, and you saying that you want to get the manuscript by February, but you didn't have anything in writing to say that that's what they could do. And it's April. You called them a month after you should have had it, and you called them one time. They didn't answer the phone, but they scammed you. I wasn't buying that one, and I called them on it. So let's just say this: whenever you do business with anybody, and I don't care, I'm talking about even with me. I don't do If you editing with me, you get a contract. If you publishing with me, you get a contract. If you do business with me, if you join APS, you get an invoice. So like, you know what is included in everything. Because again, I done dealt with too many people, and everybody a handshake ain't good enough no more. Like there's some people legit. I'm gonna be 100% transparent. There's some people I've been doing business with forever, and they are people of integrity. So we have that underlying whatever. But for everybody else, and again, that's a handful. That's like three people, legit, literally three people that I do business with, because I've been doing business with them forever, and I can trust them at their word. And unfortunately, we don't live in a society anymore where you can trust people at their word. So you have to get it in writing. Get it in writing. How much is it? Get it in writing. What does that cover? Get it in writing. When am I going to have it back? Get it in writing. Is edited included? Get it in writing. What happens when you don't deliver when you said that you would? Get it in writing. So I think that's the quickest way to make it as clear as possible. Get it in writing. Anything you have a question about, it should be in writing. So make sure that you're talking to them. Make sure that if you have a phone conversation before you send any money to them to pay them for a service, make sure that you have read the contract a few times over. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your questions before you pay the money. Because that's the main reason why authors feel they get scammed, is because you pay your money first, then you want to ask questions later. Then you want to assume that everything that you felt should have been included in the payment that you gave, that it should have been included. Was nothing in writing. You never asked a question. But because now I gave you $1,500, you feel like that the $1,500 is supposed to be encompassing of everything that you need, even though you never asked. They never told. And guess what? Because you're the consumer, you're the one that's buying it, you have the burden to know what your money is covering. So slow down some. Before you rush to sign a contract, before you rush to send your money, Guaranteed that helps to reduce the whole scamming situation. If you need to have more than one phone call, have more than one phone call. If it make you feel comfortable having a Zoom, do a Zoom. Let me tell you, as a reputable businesswoman, I done had phone calls with people, whether it's been from Messenger, whether it's been on my phone. I done had text message conversations. I done arranged Zoom with people. I done came to people in person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to do a deal for me, I want to be comfortable with you as a client, and I want for you to be comfortable with me as your whatever you're paying me for. Okay. So there's sometimes where, if as a business, as the person that's in charge with the business, if I don't feel like the loops you want me to jump through is worth my time, then guess what? I'm going to tell you, hey, you may want to do business with somebody else. But if I feel like it's worth my time and it's not too far fetched to oblige you, then I'll do what you're asking. Listen, Portia, let me tell you something. It's not just I know what to do because of the person I am. I know what to do because I done been burned. I know what to do because, can I tell you something? Authors, not y'all, but authors are scammers too. I've had people tell me they were going to do X, Y, and Z, get everything up out of me, and then try to come back later talking about they still wanted it. I had one person try to sue me, and I'm just being real honest. Had one person try to sue me. I didn't gave her her manuscript. What she bought me, I done edited, and this was in the days before I included editing. I mean, before I included editing. So she didn't pay me for editing. This lady came, brought me a manuscript, was horrific, wasn't edited, didn't pay for editing. I threw in editing. I did all types of stuff helping her to market and promote her business, bought her books for her, gave her a book signing, all of this stuff. This lady turned around and sued me because she said she didn't get the Library of Congress control number, which was never in her contract. The copyright belonged to her, but it was never stated, because I don't do Library of Congress. If you want to get the Library of Congress control number, that's something that you can do. But that was not something that was covered. Thanks so much for tuning in on Instagram. Thank you guys so much. So there are authors who also are scammers. So that's what I'm saying. Like, these things that I'm talking about is for both sides of the fence. And I have been both, in both pairs of shoes. I've been the author who, again, it wasn't necessarily that I got scammed, technically speaking, but I basically did. But a lot of that could have been prevented had I been more informed, had I done my research, had I known the questions to ask. But when I first came out, I was just so excited, so happy. I just couldn't believe, just couldn't believe that somebody would want to publish me. When, fool, they'll publish anybody that's gonna pay them to publish you. This particular company wasn't turning nobody away. If your money was green, they was gonna take you. There was as much work that needed to be done. You just had to have green coins. And I know the pun in that, green coins, I get it, but y'all know what I mean. Let me see. Mama Joy said, "This is so good and right on time." Okay, okay, I'll be ready for your message. I think I'm on the verge of getting scammed, and you may be, because again, understand though, there are companies, there are people who talk real fast. And I say be leery of that. And let me clarify. I am a fast talker naturally. I have people tell me, hey, you speak fast. And so that's why I tell people all the time, hey, if you need to just rewind, slow it down. But when we're on the phone, if we're talking business, I tell people all the time, ask me as many questions as you want. Feel free to interrupt me at any point, because what I say, this is what I say all day long. My business is my business. I know it in my sleep just as well as I'm awake. So you interrupting me, asking a question, ain't going to prevent me from knowing what I'm finna say. So, in all that getting, get understanding, right? Proverbs 4 and 7. We incorporate that in our business model. Get an understanding. I'm not going to let you sign a contract before I done asked you 3 times You got any more questions? You good? Is it something you didn't understand? Most of the time, I'm not signing a contract with you at the time of consultation either, because it's a whole lot of information that I got to get. You come calling me. You do get a free 15-minute consultation. You get a free 15-minute consultation. And you want me to explain to you the world of publishing in 15 minutes. Baby, it's not going to happen. I know it's not gonna happen. Cause you gonna ask me something. Surely you gonna ask me, because most people are not even informed about what it means to be published. So most of the time you bring in a whole lot of myths and things you've been told and things you've heard, which ain't even right. A lot of times you mixing up what happens in the traditional publishing world with the self-publishing world. Then you don't even know what vanity press publishing is. So most of the time I gotta start out just by educating you, because I'm not that hungry for your money that I'm just gonna say, okay, you need your book published, $2,000, send to me by Zelle. I, we no, because you're not gonna give me no headache. 2,000, no, baby, you're not giving me no headache for that. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna ask you questions. My consultations typically start out with me asking you questions. What you trying to do? What type of book do you got? Is your manuscript done? How many pages are your manuscript? How many chapters do you have? Like, I want to know, how well do you know your product? Because many times the author wants the publisher to know more than they know about their product. I know about my business, and your book is supposed to be yours. So I need you to be able to answer whatever question I ask you about your book, just like I can answer any question you ask me about publishing. I think that that's only fair. So many times with my consultations, what I'm going to do, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk for that hour. I'm going to let you ask me whatever questions you want to ask me. And many times, most people don't get to, because it's so convoluted what it is that we do. So if you want to learn how to be a publisher, that's a whole different conversation than if you want to know whether or not I can publish your book. And again, this is why I keep saying that you guys need to know what questions you should be asking. So if you're trying to learn how to publish yourself, then that's one set of questions. Don't be asking me about, well, what happens if you upload it through Amazon, or what happens if you upload. Uploading is a publisher's question. As an author, you could care less about what platform I use, because it's not affecting you one way or the other. Whether I use Vervanti, KDP, Ingram Spark, that is not affecting how much I'm charging you. But it's taken away from your 15 minutes. You understand what I'm trying to say? So if you're doing a consultation already, this is 101. A consultation of any kind, not just with me, period. Already had your questions written down. If you paying for the hour, or you paying for whatever, and even if it's a free, if you know you got 15 minutes, make sure that you know what your questions are. And don't have a list of 5 questions in 15 minutes. It's not gonna happen. Realistic expectations, people. This is what I'm saying. Realistic expectations. If you got a consultation, an hour consultation, don't bring no more questions, no more than 5 questions to that consultation, because you don't know how long it's going to take to get that answer. And the end of what I'm saying is this: like 9 out of 10 times, I have consultations with people. It don't end with, okay, let's go ahead and sign you. Because I done gave you a whole lot of information. Most of the time your head might be hurting, because I am the queen of idea generation. You give me an idea, we gonna figure out how to flip it around. Like how we talking now, and if y'all been taking notes, you got a whole lot of stuff just off what I've been saying, and this is free. You understand what I'm trying to say? Once you become my client, oh, now I definitely, hey, Miss Laverne, now I definitely got a vested interest in helping you, because now you're officially my client. But just if we're having a conversation, I was in conversation with Mama Joyce the other day, and she was like, you're just as interested about my idea as you are about your own. Because guess what? When you win, I win. Period. And that's not even as my client. That's in life. That's how I feel about people. When we talking, like, take me as a businesswoman off the table. Just to Neil the person. my life's work, what I do is I educate and empower, period. I don't care what realm it's in. I don't care whether it's something where I get paid for as a first lady, when I'm dealing with the women at my church, when I'm dealing with the ladies that I mentor, whether I'm glad to be a woman, APS, in my household. I want anybody that's connected to me to win, period. So many times the reason why we not winning is because we don't understand our purpose. So what I do is I'm finna help you to see your purpose. So guess what? When you start walking in it, when your oohs go off, we winning. Because it don't, when we learn that it don't hurt me to help you, I ain't intimidated to help nobody. Why? Because you can't do what I do. And that's not a conceited statement. Whatever you do, I want you to be the best at being you. So my job, if I can help to pour in, deposit in any way, I'm finna do that selflessly and totally. Now, there are some areas in my life where I charge for that, and some areas that I don't. But when you interact with me on any level, as that man's wife, as these kids' mama, they get all of that. My people at my church, as their first lady, that's what they get from me. So when we bring it to the business realm, guess what? When I'm dealing with APS, these are authors and entrepreneurs, I want you to win. Why? Because now that means you can fully walk in your purpose. You winning. And if I was able to have anything to do with that, God bless. I have had APS turned 10 years old last year. I've had so many authors and entrepreneurs over that last decade that I mean, and everyone that's passed, I'm still in touch with, still in good relationship with. Like, but my job is to help you fly. I had one lady ask me, she was one of my APS people at the time, and she was like, "How do you how do you do it? How is it?" She said, "I've never seen anybody just like pour into people so selflessly and not get mad because they fly higher than them." And I said, "Well, I don't look at it as that y'all are flying higher than me. I look at it as I'm teaching you how to fly. And ain't that what you're supposed to do when you fly? Is fly high. If you done been around me and I done poured into you and you still ain't able to fly, then that means I didn't do my job. So my job is getting you to fly. That's it's really just that simple. So let's bring it back, y'all, because I want to wrap this up because we just about the hour mark. Y'all pray for me. I'm trying to cut it down to the remember I told y'all 30 to 45 minutes, and I still didn't even get all three on me here, but y'all pray for me. I'm working on it. Um, but I want to say this. If you are looking to get your book done, start with you, start internally. First of all, let's get the writing done. You know, if you need help with that, that's what coaches are for. That's what I do. So whether you want to hire me as an actual coach to help you with the entire process, maybe you just need a consultation because you kind of stuck, you trying to figure out how to get it started, or you got stuck and you need some extra ideas. This is what I do all day long. Don't be so prideful that you will just get stuck rather than to ask for help. Once you decide that you got it done and the book is done, now I need it published. Before you just go signing contracts, take you a few moments and do some research. Look into, like, Google publishing companies. Again, APS has a publishing company. We have a publishing division. If you want to work with me personally, then that means that I got to look at your manuscript and see if it's something that I want to take on. If I do want to take it on, then you're not going to pay to publish through me. If I want to take your manuscript on, you don't pay to publish, but you are going to have to pay for a marketing package. And I think that starts at like 2,500, and that's going to cover you for the year. Because we gonna get these books moved. We gonna get some blueprints in place. Like if you saying you want to be an author, baby, that's a lifestyle. That's not, a jump in, jump out thing. I've been an author since 2010. In so doing, I've also become a publisher. Used to own a bookstore, have a authors organization, all that stuff too. But we gonna build you as a brand. That takes time. That's more than just doing the book. We ain't gonna just do one book release and then you done with the book. No, we finna get you to the top of your game. If I'm an award winning author, I want you to be one too. So that's what it is. If you deal with APS publishing, things are wrapped up into it. So you're gonna have the editing done. You ain't got to pay nothing extra for that. You ain't got. But again, if you wanna, you like me, and you like, hey, I just want to be connected to you because y'all know with the APS awards, I honor whoever publishes through my imprint. So if you like, hey, I don't necessarily need to work with you because I do have some cheaper options in terms of turnaround time. You just are not working with me personally. And if that's cool, then again, y'all go to weareaps.com. I'll put the link in the comments after this is over. But go to weareaps.com and click on the publishing tab, and it's right there before you. You ain't gotta have no consultation with me to know what my prices are. Literally everything is spelled out. Weareaps.com and click on the publishing tab. But there are so many other people that's not me. Depending on what your genre is, because I don't typically deal with sci-fi. I don't deal with a lot of different fiction, certain fiction, but not a lot of it, right? I'm more your memoir, self-help, inspirational, even poetry. That's kind of what I do. I've produced some children's books. So that's kind of what I am. But when it comes to like sci-fi, romance, paranormal, horror, that ain't what I do. But there are a lot of other companies out there. There are small companies out there that are reputable companies. Take you some time to know and then know what your budget is. So, like, let's say if you find somebody, so maybe you listening, you like, man, Tennille, I really do want to work with you. Okay, but my price is my price. So if right now you got $1,000, but my price is 2,500, I'm not going to lower my price. So you can say, hey, can I put this down as a deposit? I would say, absolutely, you can. And then we can figure out how you can make the rest of the payments later. I do payment plans. And so maybe you can ask the people that you want to work with, ask them that. But don't allow money or lack thereof to stop you from pursuing your dreams. Also, do the research so that way there are some things where you may be getting scammed and it can be prevented if you study to show yourself approved. Yeah, y'all, Bible scriptures always incorporate itself to whatever I'm talking about. But if you study for yourself, then there are a lot of things and a lot of ways that you will prevent um being scammed. Mama Joy says that I lit a fire under her. Her cookbook is almost done. Yay to you, Mama Joyce. And thank you, Portia, for saying that I am the best. And so anyway, y'all, I'm going to stop there. Like I said, I owe y'all, I'll do a part two to this show at some point later on. But I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And don't forget, if you are interested, if you are looking for somebody to help to promote your business, remember that you can become a sponsor of the Educated and Empowered podcast. We have different packages from 100 up to 500, and then you can also get individual so like say if you just want to have a commercial, we have that. You can just reach out to me and say, hey, I would like to get you to do a commercial for me. Like I can either make the commercial for you or you can send in the MP3, the entire commercial played, so we can do that for you. If you just want for us to promote you as a sponsor of the week where we're putting you on the tickers and mentioning you at the top of the show, then those things can be done a la carte as well. So be sure to reach out to me if that is something that you are interested in. But we will be live tomorrow with it's not politics, it's principles. So we're still in MWRD edition, guys. As you know, I am on the ballot come November 5th as commissioner. I am officially a candidate. And so we'll always, on Wednesdays, I'll give you different aspects of what's going on with Green Party politics. But I just want to thank you all so much for tuning into the show. Be sure, again, like and share it. If I said some things that you like, some things that resonated with you, then again, feel free, send some hearts, send some stars, send some hands, whatever platform you're on, super chats. You can send all of that my way and know that I appreciate it greatly. Thank you guys so much. And finally, if you are not already doing so, feel free to follow me across social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, TikTok, or YouTube, even Wisdom. You can find and follow me at My Name is Tennille. This podcast will be on YouTube as well under My Name is Tennille, as well as APS International. And on Instagram, it will be under APS International. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, you all stay inspired.